an important but sometimes overlooked aspect of a lab report is that you want to take credit for your beautiful work. So be sure to put your name as well as a date on top. It could be today's date, it could be a due date, it could be the date the experiment was conducted. You have some options here, but be sure to put a date. And then next, we're going to put a title. So the title of this lab report is Measuring the Expansion of Freezing Water at different precisions. So the title should be relatively short, but also descriptive. We're going to freeze some water. We're going to see how much it expands. We're going to measure that. So we're going to have some numbers, some data, maybe suggesting a calculation in this lab report. And part of the aspect of this lab report is I'm going to discuss a little bit about the concept of measurement precision. That is, how do you properly use a ruler or any measuring device in a scientific laboratory? So you want to start your lab report. It's going to have sections, right? So the most important thing about a lab report is you have the correct sections in the correct order. You're usually going to start off with some goal, a purpose, an introduction, and usually this will be more along the lines of a science goal. However, this is an instructional video, so the goal here is to show proper lab report procedure and format. So you've got yourself your name, date, title, a goal, and next comes the procedure. And my preference is that the procedure is really short, right? So we're gonna freeze a bottle of water here, and you don't need to say that you begged, borrowed, or stole $5 and you bought a bottle of water, and then you drank the water, and then you filled it with some more water, right? Let's just keep it simple. A few sentences, short paragraph, bullet points, or numbers. And one is going to be fill bottle with distilled water. Step 2 is going to be to record initial water level. So you want to write down what you've done, fill the bottle with distilled water, and you also want to be careful to note what measurements or observations you're going to be taking. Step 3 will be to freeze it overnight. It's probably going to take 8 or 10 hours for a bottle of water to freeze. And step 4 is to record the final ice level. So there's going to be more to do here. You're going to do some calculations. You're going to write a report. You're maybe going to submit the report, possibly get a grade if this is a high school, college, university lab. But the procedure represents what's done in the lab. Now, a lot of times also with the procedure, you might have an equipment list. So, check on any specific report formats you have. My preference is to keep it short so that people will actually read it. And you might notice that I've listed the equipment that I've needed in the procedure. So I've got a bottle, I've got some distilled water, I'm going to freeze it. That suggests I have some sort of freezing device, and recording these initial and final levels suggests that I have some sort of measuring device. We're talking about a ruler. I didn't write that explicitly. And again, you could have a materials list if you feel it's really necessary. My preference is to keep it short so that it makes sense. And then the next section is going to be the data that you actually collect in the lab. So the data table, the data section is the most important aspect of the report. And to me, it's more important to have a data table that somebody can read and see what you've done rather than, writing 19 paragraphs about what specifically it was done, right? A picture tells a million words, and to a scientist, right, we have a data table. It's sort of a graphical format of what happened in the lab.